Today, we embark on a thoughtful journey into the complex relationships between traditional religious beliefs and alternative spiritual practices. In this video, we will explore how some religious communities view psychic mediums and tarot cards as the work of the devil, and we will examine deeper meanings behind such beliefs. Our discussion will also delve into practices like witchcraft and paganism, revealing surprising similarities to established religious traditions. By comparing ritual, symbolism, and cultural rites, we aim to provide a balanced perspective that appeals to a general audience, making challenging ideas both clear and relatable. Religious texts often serve as the foundation for many of these concerns. For instance, ancient scriptures include warnings against engaging in divination and consultative practices that are believed to open gateways to forces beyond human control. Such views are deeply embedded in the collective consciousness of many communities. While some see these prohibitions as protective measures, others interpret them as limiting the exploration of alternative ideas. As we navigate through these themes, we will not only uncover historical roots and modern controversies, but also infuse creative insights that offer a unique and refreshing twist on the topic. By bridging historical context with modern interpretations, we shall better understand why fear, caution, and sometimes outright rejection accompany practices seen as unconventional. Prepare to question assumptions, uncover layered meanings, and contemplate a world where ancient fears meet modern curiosity. Join us as we step beyond the surface and explore a dialogue that is both enlightening and unexpectedly innovative, inviting every viewer to think deeply about the interplay of faith, mysticism, and the human experience. Through this exploration, our aim is to build bridges of understanding and empathy, encouraging viewers to appreciate the nuances behind fears and practices that have shaped human spirituality for centuries with careful consideration. Many religious traditions have long maintained that engaging with psychic mediums and using tarot cards is not merely an alternative practice, but an act that opens doors to malevolent spiritual influences. Rooted in ancient scriptures and the teachings of early religious leaders, these prohibitions are designed to safeguard believers' souls from what is perceived as the deceptive lure of the demonic realm. Religious texts provide warnings against divination, often portraying such practices as violations of divine order, acts that invite the presence of evil spirits. For centuries, influential religious figures have argued that trusting mediums or consulting tarot cards equates to opening oneself to tricks of the devil, a notion that has been ingrained in the hearts and minds of many followers. In many communities, the link between these practices and demonic forces is explained through the idea of spiritual warfare. Believers contend that the world is a battleground where divine forces and malevolent entities vie for influence, and that engaging with psychic phenomena is akin to aligning oneself with the enemy. The tarot, with its rich symbolism and artistic imagery, is often misunderstood by those steeped in traditional religious teachings. Rather than viewing the tarot as a tool for self-reflection, critics see it as a gateway for dark energies to infiltrate one's life. Similarly, psychic mediums are believed to act as unwitting conduits for sinister spirits, channeling messages that are interpreted as attempts by dark forces to manipulate or mislead. Historical case studies reveal that the rejection of these practices often stems from a deep-seated fear of the unknown. Early religious communities faced the challenge of interpreting inexplicable events and phenomena without the benefit of modern scientific understanding. As a result, supernatural explanations, including the influence of the devil, became the default interpretation in many cases. Modern instances echo this historical skepticism, as media portrayals and high-profile controversies continue to fuel debates within religious circles. Despite advances in knowledge, a significant segment of contemporary religious adherents still view psychic mediums and tarot cards as dangerous distractions from true spiritual devotion. Furthermore, the language used in religious discourse intensifies the perception of these practices as inherently dangerous. The word devil itself conjures images of betrayal, corruption, and ultimate evil, carrying an emotional weight that stokes fear and distrust. By labeling mediums and tarot readings as the work of the devil, religious leaders create a clear demarcation between acceptable practices and those that are seen as spiritually corrupt. This perspective not only reinforces fear among the faithful, but also serves to strengthen group cohesion by uniting believers against a common enemy. In this way, the condemnation of psychic phenomena functions both as a spiritual safeguard and as a social tool, reinforcing the structure of religious communities. Those who adhere to these interpretations often find comfort in the certainty offered by long-standing tradition, even as they grapple with the complexities of modern spirituality. The intense scrutiny surrounding these practices reflects a broader concern about maintaining moral order and preventing the subversion of deeply held beliefs. In some religious communities, warnings about the dangers of divination carry severe warnings against being misled by false visions and deceptive spirits. Critics argue that the allure of the mystical, combined with the comfort of familiar symbols, can sometimes overshadow rational thought, leading individuals into spiritually perilous situations. These concerns not only derive from theological foundations, but are also influenced by cultural narratives that paint anything beyond orthodox practices as dangerous. The debate over psychic mediums and tarot cards is emblematic of a larger struggle between established religious doctrines and the numerous expressions of individual spiritual exploration that have emerged over time. This enduring debate continues to resonate in everyday conversations, online forums, and public gatherings, where modern lifestyles intersect with age-old beliefs. Even as we recognize the evolution of society and the emergence of alternative worldviews, the powerful language of tradition endures, leaving an indelible mark on those who adhere to its tenets. It is within this charged atmosphere that the debate over psychic mediums and tarot cards assumes not just a religious significance, but also a cultural one, fueling discussions that bridge the gap between skepticism and belief. Such debates continue to shape perceptions and inspire passionate dialogue. The discussion remains ever deeply engaging. Witchcraft and paganism are often misunderstood terms that cover a wide range of spiritual traditions and practices. Historically, both witchcraft and paganism have evolved from ancient cultural rituals that sought to honor natural forces, the cycles of the seasons, and the mysteries of existence. Like many established religions, these practices incorporate ritual, symbolism, and sacred narratives that impart moral guidance and foster a sense of community. Pagan ceremonies frequently involve celebrations of solstices, equinoxes, and harvests, echoing many of the communal rites found within mainstream religious traditions. Both witchcraft and established religions utilize a rich tapestry of symbols, from sacred texts to ceremonial artifacts, to convey their spiritual and moral lessons. The rituals in paganism, much like those seen in more organized religions, are designed to connect practitioners with a larger cosmic order. These practices often emphasize harmony with nature, respect for ancestors, and a cyclical understanding of time that contrasts with linear interpretations. In many ways, the core of witchcraft and paganism mirrors the foundational elements of traditional religions, where rituals serve as conduits for both spiritual communication and communal bonding. This similarity is evident in the structured nature of ceremonial practices, which often involve music, dance, chanting, and the deliberate invocation of symbolic forces. Many adherents of paganism view their practices as a celebration of diversity and a reclaiming of ancient wisdom that has been overshadowed by monolithic religious doctrines. Critics, however, sometimes lump witchcraft and paganism together under a single unflattering label, which can obscure the rich variations and profound spirituality within these traditions. Modern society often portrays these practices through a sensational lens, reducing them to stereotypical images of magic and mystery, rather than recognizing their deep cultural roots. Over time, the boundaries between what is considered witchcraft, paganism, or even other forms of spirituality have blurred, with many practitioners drawing inspiration from multiple sources. This fluidity in belief systems underscores how cultural practices can evolve, absorbing elements from various religious traditions while maintaining a unique identity. One of the key similarities between witchcraft, paganism, and mainstream religions is their function as a means for individuals to find meaning and solace in a complex world. Through their rituals, symbols, and narratives, both systems create spaces for personal transformation and communal celebration. The communal aspect of these practices is evident in group ceremonies, shared festivals, and regular gatherings that reinforce social bonds. Much like many religious congregations, practitioners find meaning in collective rituals that not only honor past traditions but also adapt to contemporary challenges. By drawing on both old and new elements, these practices offer a dynamic alternative to the rigid structures sometimes found in more dogmatic religious institutions. Despite facing historical prejudice and modern misinterpretations, witchcraft and paganism continue to thrive as sources of empowerment and spiritual exploration. The resurgence of interest in these practices in recent decades can be seen as part of a broader movement towards re-examining ancient wisdom and seeking authenticity in spiritual expression. Such a revival is often accompanied by a deliberate effort to reclaim practices that were once vilified by mainstream religious authorities. This reawakening not only highlights the adaptability of spiritual practices over time, but also challenges the narrative that only one path leads to truth and enlightenment. The boundaries between religion, witchcraft, and paganism are porous, allowing for a cross-pollination of ideas and the evolution of spiritual beliefs. This blending of traditions can be seen in modern ceremonies that integrate symbolic elements from widely different spiritual backgrounds, creating something new and resonant. Moreover, many individuals today embrace a syncretic approach, drawing from both organized religion and traditional pagan practices to construct a personalized spiritual framework. In doing so, they challenge the rigid boundaries that have long defined what is acceptable in spiritual practice, and in the process, they forge a path towards inclusivity and open-minded exploration. Ultimately, the comparison between witchcraft, paganism, and established religions reveals that while their outward forms may differ, their core purpose remains similar: to provide a framework for understanding life's uncertainties and to build a sense of belonging. Through timeless practices continue to inspire both reverence and curiosity, inviting all who seek wisdom to discover their own unique path. The journey remains transformative. Death is a topic that has instilled both fear and hope throughout human history. Religious perspectives on mortality are especially profound. Many religious traditions teach that death is not the end, but rather a transition into an eternal state where the soul faces judgment and ultimately meets its maker. For many believers, the fear of death is intertwined with the anxiety of facing divine judgment, even if they have lived virtuous lives. Religious texts explain that the encounter with one's maker is an inevitable moment of truth, where every deed and intention is scrutinized. This powerful concept has inspired both deep reverence and a paralyzing fear among the faithful. The promise of eternal life is a cornerstone in many religious teachings, serving as a remedy to the dread of mortality. While the specter of damnation offers a stark counterpoint, psychological studies suggest that even the most devout individuals can experience existential anxiety when contemplating the unknown aspects of death and the afterlife. Such fears are not solely about the cessation of life, but about the moral reckoning that awaits beyond, where each action is weighed carefully. Many find themselves grappling with a sense of vulnerability, as the promise of divine mercy is juxtaposed with the fear of inevitable retribution. This internal conflict can lead to a profound personal struggle, where faith is tested and existential questions arise. For many, the idea of meeting the Maker carries the hope of reunification with a benevolent force that promises salvation and eternal comfort. At the same time, traditional doctrines warn of an unforgiving judgment that leaves little room for leniency. This duality of promise and peril is reflected in countless sermons, writings, and personal testimonies provided over centuries. Modern narratives continue to explore these themes in literature, art, and digital media, often blending traditional imagery with contemporary fears. Personal stories of near-death experiences and profound moments of clarity serve to underline the powerful impact that religious teachings have on individual psyches. In many communities, open discussions about death and the afterlife are encouraged as a way to address fears and build a more robust spiritual understanding. The interplay between the fear of mortality and the hope for redemption offers a rich tapestry of emotion and belief that continues to shape cultural attitudes toward death. Throughout history, religious leaders have addressed the existential dread of mortality with compassionate guidance and rigorous discipline, attempting to balance fear with faith. This balance is not easily achieved, and many continue to wrestle with deep-rooted anxieties even as they embrace the comforting promises of their faith. Ultimately, the fear of death and the concept of meeting the Maker compel individuals to look beyond the physical world and seek meaning in the spiritual realm. Modern discussions surrounding mortality often incorporate scientific, philosophical, and artistic viewpoints, yet they consistently return to the central role that religious doctrine plays in framing the ultimate questions of life and death. Even amid technological advancements and changing cultural landscapes, the existential questions that religion seeks to answer remain as potent and relevant as ever. Many find that embracing the inevitability of death allows them to live more fully, appreciating each moment as part of a divine plan. This profound insight can transform fear into motivation, urging individuals to seek purpose and to honor the sacred dimensions of everyday existence. The blend of ancient teachings and modern interpretations offers a unique lens, through which the mystery of death and the anticipation of an afterlife can be understood. While fear often motivates adherence to strict religious codes, hope inspires many to envision a future filled with the promise of reunion and everlasting peace. Ultimately, the interplay between fear and hope serves as a powerful reminder of humanity's enduring quest to understand the mysteries of existence and to find solace in the promise of a divine reunion. In conclusion, the fear of death and the anticipation of meeting the Maker are themes as old as time, resonating deeply with the innermost fears and hopes of mankind. This enduring dialogue about life, death, and spiritual destiny continues to inspire scholars, artists, and ordinary people to explore the profound mysteries of existence. Our humble souls cherish eternal truth. Throughout our exploration, we have examined how religious interpretations label psychic mediums and tarot cards as the work of the devil, and we have seen the historical and cultural reasons for such beliefs. We have also compared witchcraft and paganism to established religious practices, uncovering shared elements such as ritual, symbolism, and community significance. Finally, we discussed the pervasive fear of death and the awe of meeting one's Maker, even among the most virtuous individuals. This journey of inquiry reveals that underlying these diverse teachings is a common human desire to understand mystery and secure hope in uncertain times. By delving into these themes with clarity and creative insight, we invite reflection and open dialogue. May this exploration foster greater understanding and empathy as viewers continue to seek truth in the interplay of faith, tradition, and the eternal questions of existence. Let unwavering curiosity guide us on.